Kenya is facing quite the economic storm in 2018 following two disputed elections. The nation's $25.1 billion budget is amended to include a range of austerity measures, ostensibly to accommodate unplanned expenditures like the rerun of the election that was held on the 26th of October. Now, it's been saddled with non-existent credit growth and new, much stricter accounting rules for the banking industry as well. You'll probably hear about that as IFRS 9. The country now risks missing the forecast for 6% economic growth, not just next year, but even this year as well. Let's dig into that problem with a little more detail. Edward Kusai is a local economist who joins me in studio right now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, thank you.
So what is Kenya's request to lenders for a 6-month extension on this $750 million syndicated loan tell us about our cash flow? I mean, that does suggest some sort of distress, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does really. We are truly in the middle of a debt trap, so to speak. Treasury Secretary Henry Rotich has disclosed that Kenya has no choice than to issue a Eurobond, first of all, to repay the 750 million Eurobond. And moving forward, the government has contracted other players to come in to help us, especially financial institutions moving forward. They have disclosed that that syndicated loan was due in October 2017. And so moving forward, the government has been forced to renegotiate again with these bondholders.
So we're trapped in this cycle of short-term debt, short-term debt, short-term debt.
Yeah, for another 6 months until April 2018.
But walk us through then the longer-term picture. 2018 is coming up. 2019 is not far behind. What sort of debt obligations are we looking at? Which are the ones that are of most concern? In
the coming months, we have issues to address. We have an IMF standby facility of about $1.5 billion that we need to repay. We also have two syndicated loans that are amounting to about $1.05 billion that we also need to repay. Again, first, with what has happened in the past, we had the standard gauge railway that has been built on a borrowed concession of around
well over $7 billion,
around $10 billion. So there's going to be a lot of huge debt distress for this country.
And of course, that introduces an element of currency risk as well, doesn't it? Because if the dollar-shilling rate falls, then our debt service costs goes up significantly.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the wider economy, though, because we look at one common indicator for this, the Stanbic Market PMI, and that's fallen to levels not seen in the series history. You've seen a steady decline in employment numbers all year. How big are these job losses?
They are huge. I mean, 47% of manufacturers are going to cut jobs this year. That has been because of the political instability towards the end of the first of this year. We are seeing a decline in output. We are seeing a decline in employment. We are seeing a decline in new orders. So all these things are contributing to the huge unemployment that has existed over a period of time. We have lost about $6 million in the private sector over the past few months.
6 million or 6 billion?
Around $6 million. That's in the private sector. But the Nairobi Stock Exchange has lost around $2.3 billion.
Right. Yeah. But what about consumer demand? Because you've also seen that in decline over that same period of time. Is it all election related, or are there more fundamental issues at play here?
They are both fundamental reasons and election related. Cost inflationary pressures that are responsible for bringing up inflation, the cost, which is inputs and raw materials that have gone up, transportation cost and oil has also gone up. So this has made the consumers to have a low customer turnout and very low demand in this part of the market.
Would the decline that we've seen in private sector lending as well have something to do with that? Because I mean, the biggest category of lending has always been to the household sector, as it were.
Yeah. So credit growth has been very low, especially in the private sector over the last, and especially with that law that has been there in financial institutions. So moving forward, we don't see a lot of huge domestic demand moving forward. So definitely, something has to be done. There must be a review of that act or something.
All right, one last question for you. With all the factors we've discussed, the rate cap in place, consumer demand is weak, export orders have fallen, job numbers are essentially being cut left, right and centre. What sort of growth numbers should we expect next year?
Very low, around 5.5 for 2019.
Will we actually even crack that 5% number?
Well, those are the projections. We have to keep going by the projections of around 5.5, but I know it will be lower than 5%. They are projecting around 6.1% in 2019. So, I mean, we can just hope for the best.
Hope for the best and prepare for the worst, as it were.
Yeah, true.
All right, we'll leave it there for the time being. Edward Kusawa, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Yeah.